Queen Diva Marie, we're all here, but can we first talk about how myself, Co-Mayor Alexa, and Judge Jade got kidnapped and taken to some random backstage prison where we couldn't escape? They gave us a game, we failed the game. Long story short, they told us that all of us are going to have to go back and compete in these games. Can we talk about that first?
Mayor Aaron, aren't you a little old to be kidnapped? Anyways, we can deal with that later. As your queen, I'm here to make new official changes to LumberJillville.
Okay, that's kind of mean, and I feel like we should elaborate on the story, but we'll get there, But change? Okay, you're going to make change to LumberJillville? First thing I think you should do is eliminate these tariffs.
Yes, the import tax increase has affected not only price, but has caused delays at which some figures are being shipped to LJV.
I don't know. That seems more like a country issue. I'll have to see about...
Can I file a restraining order on you since I hate you so much?
Ooh, girl, as the judge of LJV, I can help make that happen.
Well, that's kind of rude. Any other suggestions?
Can we eliminate those creepy wrestling fans that try and kiss the women's wrestlers at meet and greets? And by eliminate, we mean completely melt with our laser vision.
Oh, that's a good one, Robotominas. Well, I'm just here because I heard that there was a free catered lunch.
Okay, well, all those suggestions were a thing, and I'm sure my scribe Dexy was writing them down the whole time. But here is my list of formal changes being made under my reign as Queen of LumberJillville. Rule number 1. The magic cabinet can only be used with my permission. Rule number 2. I'm the only baddie allowed in LJV. Rule number 3. On Wednesdays, we wear pink.
Wait, stop right there. Is that a Mean Girls reference? I mean, either way, I don't have time to go through your entire list of rules, Your Highness.
I am pretty high up on the shelf, aren't I?
Yeah, he has a real queen figure to review. Queen Nia Jax.
Yeah, hold that thought. We'll go over those rules later, and we'll talk about the whole Jill game thing. But I'm going to go review these figures before things get ugly. Oh. Hey y'all, welcome to LumberJillville. Women's wrestling lives here. Before we get started, I just want to remind you to please hit subscribe to become an official resident of LJV and get a first look at all future women's wrestling figure reviews and women's wrestling related videos. Like today's very exciting review of WWE Elite Series 118 Nia Jax, both the standard and the chase version. Now, talking about the standard and the chase version, it is very confusing. We'll get into that in the next segment. I ordered 2 chases and 1 standard, and I think I got 2 standards and 1 chase. I don't know. It's a big mess. I think when Ringside first listed them and I pre-ordered these, I think they got the colors and the figures swapped as to which one was standard, which one was chase. But without further ado, let's take a look at the packaging and get into that. All right, so let's get into this. I am I've never been so confused in my life as to which figure is the chase, which figure is a standard. So when I first pre-ordered these pictures, the text was shown and also the images showed that the red was the standard and the white was the chase. So I ordered 2 of the white chases at $44.99. The standard was $34.99. So as time went by, the text in my order still showed this was the standard in red, the white was the chase. However, the images next to the text showed all of a sudden that the white was the standard and the red was the chase. So I was confused. But because I ordered 2 of the more expensive chases, I thought when the figures show up, I'll know which one is the chase. So they showed up and I got 2 of the white attire. So you would think, okay, Mayor Aaron, the white attire must be the chase. But if you go to Wrestling Figure Database, the red is listed as a chase. And if you go to ringsidecollectibles.com right now, the Nia Chase is sold out, and the only one that's in stock is the standard. And guess which color the standard attire is on Ringside Collectibles right now? The white. So I am so confused because I paid the chase price. So the chase was $10 more expensive. I paid the chase price, and I think I ended up getting 2 standards. So I'm going to reach out to Ringside Collectibles and try to clear it up. I know it's very confusing. I'm pretty sure that the actual chase between these 2 is the red attire. I go off a Wrestling Figure Database quite a bit, and honestly, I think when they first listed these, they just flip-flopped them and messed up, and they didn't correct it in my order. So I'm a little frustrated. Let me know in the comments what you think is the chase, what you think is the rare. And like I said, I posted some images here just to show you the confusion. So it's very confusing. So we are just going to review these based off of the attire color. We're not going to say this is the standard, this is the chase. We're going to go red attire and white attire. So either way, let's just take a look at the packaging. And the packaging is the same for both of them. So we'll just put one out here. So as you can see, we do have that limited window size, which is unfortunate. Hopefully they make a change to the package in future Elite Series. Also, the cardboard is that paper-thin, flimsy, cheap material. Not a fan, not a fan. But we do have an image of the beautiful Queen Nia Jax on the front with the series number, her name, and in the window we can see she has an alternate head, she has a crown included, and she also has extra hands. We have an image of the stunning and talented Nia on that side we have her name. On the back, it says, "All hail the Queen, the unstoppable force dominated Lyra Valkyria to become the 2024 King of the Ring." Now, the unfortunate thing, another confusing thing, let me bring this other one out here to show you. The unfortunate thing is the attires they chose were completely random. I feel like not a lot of thought went into the attires when they were making a Queen Nia Jax Elite. There's plenty other attires that they should have gone with. For example, they could have gone with, I don't know, when she beat Lyra to win the King of the Ring finals in Saudi. That would have been really cool to put her in her Saudi gear. Or maybe when she was at SummerSlam 2024 and won the WWE Women's Championship when she was in this metallic silver attire. Why did they not choose that? Why did they not choose that attire? Because these attires kind of seem like they'd be more fit for the main event line, in my opinion. But either way, I digress. Let's start off with the white attire. I'm not going to say if it's standard or chase because I'm super confused by that. But let's start off. I'm going to unbox the white one here, and then let's take a closer look. WWE Elite Series 118 Nia Jax white attire. This attire is from the May 17th, 2024 episode of SmackDown. On this night, Nia would defeat Jade Cargill in the quarterfinal of the Queen of the Ring tournament, winning via DQ. Alright, some overall first impressions of this figure are lukewarm, to be honest with you. I am super confused still by which one's the standard, which one's the chase. I just, that whole thing kind of bothers me. But on top of that, I feel like there's so many more attires they could have gone with during her Queen Nia Jax run that they should have gone with. That would have been much more toyetic. Choosing 2 attires from SmackDown episodes that are kind of bland is a little disappointing because she had some really cool looking attires. As I mentioned, when she won the Queen of the Ring crown in Saudi, or when she won the WWE Women's Championship, why couldn't we get that metallic silver attire? So that's a little frustrating, but I think the likeness is cool. It's cool that she comes with an alternate head, and that is so cool because Nia's first Elite was actually the first Elite figure, men's or women's, that had alternate heads to swap out. So it was a game-changing figure. It really was a revolutionary figure in the Mattel WWE line. So it's cool that they kind of nod to that by giving us an alternate head here with this new Nia Jax. Now, it's also important to note that every single one of Nia Jax's figures has been an absolute banger, in my opinion, has been amazing. All her basic figures, all her elites have absolutely been stunning. So this one does look cool, but I think it kind of falls short when you compare it to the others, which we will do later in the video. But as you can see here, we have 2 extra sets of hands, an alternate head, and then she has her crown that is on her head. So this alternate head we will look at later. What I'm going to do is I'm going to swap the red attire with this head, so that's when we'll look at that head later on. And we will take a closer look at this head in the next segment here. But let's look at the accessories, what she comes with. So she comes packaged with grasping hands, which kind of look a little small, to be honest with you. She also comes with 2 hands that are fist hands with white painted on there to go with her attire. And then 2 pointer finger hands, which, yeah, in my opinion, the hands are a little too small for this figure. But either way, it's nice we get 2 extra sets. And then we have the crown. Now, the crown, as you can see, is really cool detail. It is really, really nice. The sculpt is nice. We have a gold base with some silver there painted throughout. We have a lot of sculpting and design here that looks really, really cool. Now, I will say the other crown that I have is bent, so keep that in mind when you're looking at this figure in package. If you see it in stores, make sure that crown is not bent, because that would probably be a tough fix. So yeah, the crown is nice, and I like that it fits on her head right here. Now, speaking of, let's take a closer look at her first face sculpt, face scan, and hair sculpt that comes with these figures. So Mattel has always done a stellar job at replicating Nia's likeness. Even before TrueFX face scan technology, they did a pretty darn good job of representing her likeness in figure form. And this sculpt and scan is no difference. I think it's absolutely beautiful. It's stunning, and it looks just like Nia from all angles. I think it's one of the better face sculpts and scans that they've done. I really, really like it. Now, I can't say the same for the other sculpt and scan, which I will save that other head she comes with for the red attire figure. That way we have something to look at with that figure. But yeah, I really love the sculpt and scan, the eye makeup, the eyelashes, the eyebrows, the facial structure, everything is great. The crown sits on this hair sculpt really, really well. I absolutely love that because it actually stays on and it looks really, really good on her. Now, looking at this hair sculpt, I love this hair sculpt. Hair sculpts are a big part of women's wrestling figures. I love when they're unique, and this one is absolutely unique. As you can see here, there's a lot of sculpting of curls, a lot of form factor. The hair is even sculpted in a way that it's pulled back and put into this bun, and it looks really, really cool. So I really dig this face sculpt, face scan, and hair sculpt. Really like it. Now, like I said, we will look at that alternate head she comes with in the red attire figure. But for now, let's take a look at this figure's body sculpt and attire. Alright, so moving on down to the body sculpt and the attire. I am just not a fan of this attire. I'm sorry, there's so many other looks they could have gone with. Even the red version just really doesn't pop for me. So yeah, we'll get to the attire here in a second, but let's talk about the body sculpt. So here's the thing with the body sculpt of all women's wrestling figures. I think it's absolutely amazing when they depict the actual body sculpt of the superstar and make it unique to that female. I think that is so cool, and I love when they do that. And Jazzwares has been doing a fantastic job of that over the last year or so, and Mattel is kind of hit or miss. So here, this body sculpt does seem a little bit oversized. So I will say that Nia Jax, her body shape has changed a little bit since her return to the company, and this figure really doesn't depict that. Now, I will say this. All body sizes and shapes are absolutely beautiful in their own way. Every one of these women is beautiful in their own way. So I'm not by any means shaming or saying anything negative. That's not at all what I mean. But I'm just saying I don't think this figure really depicts her body shape in real life accurately to the current day Nia Jax. So we'll just say that, you know. But as far as the attire goes, let's look here. So yeah, it's just plain black and white. There's no metallic paint applied. There's even a scuff mark on her booty cheek there. So, yeah, I mean, there's just not a whole lot going on. I mean, the attire is accurate to the night it depicts, but like I said, there's other attires it could have gone with. So, it's a little disappointing. Moving in, we do have a uniquely sculpted chest, midsection, legs. Everything is unique to Nia, which is great. Now, they have used some of these parts in her previous figures, and that explains how the scale is pretty much the same, which we'll do a side-by-side later. We do have some sculpt molding on her chest here, going across the collar. We have a little bit of fabric design there, which is cool to simulate like a see-through type material. The midsection has the sculpted pattern on there. Also, these lines on her attire are sculpted on. We have the zipper pattern, which is actually sculpted going down the back. That's really, really cool. And even that collar is a sculpted piece. It's not just painted on her neck. So that's a really, really nice detail there. Moving on down to her legs, she has sculpting in the design there, as you can see, going around. It looks really, really, really cool. And then her boots are just kind of a generic type boot. Now, as far as the colors go, we can see that we have black as the primary color with white as the majority accent color going throughout. It's the color of her collar. That's hard to say. And then the color in the midsection here, and then moving on down. So, yeah, I mean, the attire just doesn't really do much for me, to be honest with you. But either way, let's move on and let's take a look at the red attire. But we're going to start off by looking at that alternate head. WWE Elite Series 118 Nia Jax red attire. This attire is from the May 10th, 2024 episode of SmackDown. On this night, Nia would defeat Naomi to advance in the Queen of the Ring tournament. Alright, so I think it's really cool that we do get an alternate head. However, I'm just not a huge fan of this face sculpt, this face scan. I don't really think it looks like Nia, to be honest with you. I absolutely love the hair sculpt. Let's talk about the hair sculpt. So her hair on the head that she comes packaged with is that pulled up bun. Here it's down, and it is a beautiful sculpt. I really, really love this sculpt. This hair sculpt is actually probably one of my favorite hair sculpts. But the face, to me, just is not that great. I really don't think it looks like Nia, to be honest with you. She has a very specific structure to her face that this other sculpt and scan she came with really replicates. Here, it really doesn't replicate it. Just looks kind of like a generic female face scan and sculpt. So, just not a huge fan of this alternate head, to be honest with you. Now, I really do like the hair sculpt, but the face itself really doesn't look too much like Nia. Now, let's take a look at the body sculpt and the attire. Alright, so the body sculpt is the exact same. It is the exact same, so we're not going to really cover that. You know, as I mentioned, I feel like it's not the best likeness to her body shape in the current day WWE, but, you know, it is what it is. It's not terrible. So, looking at the attire itself, I mean, here, all the white is switched out with a red. Now, I'm colorblind. I think it's a red or a pink or an orange. I don't know, but I think it's red. Let me know in the comments what color this is. So that's really the only difference between the two figures as far as the attire goes. So as you can see here, all the sculpting work is the exact same in that midsection piece, the top there. The only difference here is that white is swapped out, and now it is red. So, yeah, I mean, there's not really much to say there, except now we have red and the other is white. Now, looking at images online, I thought I preferred the white, but I actually think the red stands out a little bit more. I kind of like the red because it's kind of unique, you know what I mean? So, I do like the red, but like I said, there's a million other looks I could have gone with. So I just want to do a side-by-side if you're trying to decide which one you want to add to your collection. Now, I will say I don't know which one's a chase, don't know which one's a standard. You know, watch my part where I'm talking about these figures mint on card, in package, and I explain why I'm so confused. But either way, we're just going to represent them as white attire and red attire. Now, comparing the two, which attire do I like more? Oh, I think the red. I mean, in my opinion, both attires are pretty lackluster. But I think I kind of like the red more, but it's a slim margin. And as far as the heads go, I definitely prefer this head. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to swap this head with this body. Let's do that real quick. Yep. Okay, so I definitely, out of the two figures, I do like the red attire with that queen head. That is the one that I will display in LumberJillville. I really like that one. All right, so let's do a little side-by-side comparison, and let's determine what is the best Nia Jax Elite figure. Now, she has had plenty of main event basic style figures that are really, really good, but I think these ones are the best. Now, she does have a chase version of this figure that's in purple that's really, really cool. However, I just put the standard out here because the Elite Series 65 is in purple, so just to add some variety to the colors, right? So on the far left, we have Elite Series 65, released in 2019. Now, this was the very first Mattel WWE figure to have swappable head. She came with two other heads. This one's my favorite. It's the most unique. I absolutely love it. Looking up close, she has these pink braids going down. The hair sculpt is beautiful. The likeness is great. One of my favorite all-time figures. One of the best. Maybe in the top 10 of the best women's elites of all time. Next up, we have Elite Series 89, released in 2021. This is the standard version. Really good likeness here. The hair sculpt is okay. Does a good job. I think where it really elevates is the attire here. I think they did a fantastic job of putting metallic accents in there with a really intricate paint pattern with the red. Really, really good figure. Now, my one complaint with Elite Series 89 is those heads fell off so easily. So easily. Like, if a gust of wind came by right now in this review, that head would probably fly off and it'd be gone with the wind. It'd be like that feather at the beginning of Forrest Gump. But anyway, moving on to today's Elite 118. The white attire and the red attire. You know, they look boring compared to her previous Elites. They really do. And it is the attire. Now, as far as this face sculpt and scan, my favorite would be that Queen sculpt and scan with the high bun and the crown. I think that looks fantastic. But as far as the attire goes, I think it goes to these two, and even that chase version of Elite 89 in the purple, they're miles ahead of the attire over here. Now, as far as body sculpt goes, it actually looks like the new Nia might have a bit of a, well, it's about the same. It might be even a little bit bigger of a body. It does. It is a bigger body sculpt than her previous or her first in the line figure. And that's just a little backwards with her real life, you know, how things are now. So, yeah, I feel like they kind of missed the mark with the body sculpt. And they definitely missed the mark with the attires. Now, I think the Queen Nia Jax is a cool figure, but I don't see any reason to have that be your sole Nia Jax figure. If you just want one Nia Jax figure in your collection, I actually would 1000% go with Elite Series 65. I think the attire here is beautiful. The sculpting is beautiful. And all three heads are really, really good. And I love this sculpt. This hair sculpt, this face is great. So if you're going to have one Nia Jax figure in your collection, go with Elite Series 65. But if you're a Nia Jax completionist, then sure, you can get them all. And I think today's figures would be okay to you, but by no means do they really stand out. And they should, because, you know, her Elite 89 came out in 2021. So this is 4 years later, and we just didn't see much progress or much improvement in the evolution of her figures. So that's a little bit of a letdown. All right, so let's cover articulation. The head can move not very good, to be honest with you. I thought the high bun hair sculpt would allow her head to move. It really doesn't move that well, to be honest with you. The shoulders on a ball joint can move in all different directions. We have an upper bicep swivel, double jointed elbows we can really flex there, really curl. Look at those. Sun's out. The wrist can rotate around. It can also flex up and extend. We have that upper torso swivel, which has limited movement. We have that waist swivel, the thighs on a ball joint, but, oh man, that is tight. That hip really does not move. There's not a whole lot of range in that hip. It is really inhibited. We have an upper thigh swivel, double jointed knees that can really flex, a boot swivel, and then the feet can planar flex down, dorsiflex up, and then rock side to side. All right, so overall, I give WWE Elite Series 118, both the red attire and the white attire, overall scores of 5.5 out of 10. Now, I know that is super, super low, but they could have done so much better with her figures. Now, here's the thing. If these were the first Nia Jax figures that ever came out, they'd probably be a much higher score. However, it doesn't help that she's had multiple Elites released and main event figures that are simply just better than these two, in my opinion. I think it's cool that we have a Queen depiction of Nia. I really, really love that. But as I mentioned in the video, they could have gone with so many other attires, and they went with the most boring, simple attires that they could have. And that's super frustrating. Also, I think that alternate head that's on this white attire one here isn't all that great. So I really think they missed the mark with this figure. It could have been an amazing, amazing figure. And that's what I expected due to her previous track record of having awesome figures. But I think Mattel just missed the mark here. And also, I'm going to research and figure out which one's the standard, which one's the chase. I know I've covered that countless times in the video, but it still is driving me wild even right now. So I'm going to do some digging, do some research. Let me know in the comments which one you think is the chase, which one you think is the standard, because it is super frustrating. But yeah, so I think these Elites, unfortunately, are just a little bit above average. I think if you're looking to have one Nia Jax figure in your collection, these would probably be the last ones that you should add. So, yeah. Thanks for stopping by LumberJillville. Women's wrestling lives here. To get a first look at all future women's wrestling figure reviews, make sure to hit subscribe and become an official resident of LJV today. Also, stay tuned. There are a lot of women's wrestling figure, women's wrestling related videos. I started a new thing where I do LumberJillville LJV women's wrestling and women's wrestling figure news. And also look for the Monday Night Classic reviews. There might be a little bit of a hiatus. I am house sitting this week, but stay tuned. There's lots of content coming to the channel. So that being said, I appreciate y'all watching and have a great night.